of halftimes and harmonies. Yes, I am back. I hope you guys enjoyed that wonderful interview I did with Coach Brooke Wyckoff. She's so sweet. I absolutely love her. And I hope you guys enjoyed that interview last week. But this week, I got to talk about all the craziness that happened in this week of sports. There was just so much that happened and so much there is to come. Like, oh my gosh, we are in prime time. There's a slight pun there. But we are in prime time for sports right now. So we're going to go back a little bit. We're going to start with Thursday. Last Thursday, a week from today. Starting back with the first game of the NFL season, which involved the Lions and the Chiefs. That game ended 21-20 in favor of the Lions. Jared Goff had a pretty good game. Patrick Mahomes struggled. Kadarius Toney could not catch a ball to save his life, and so the Chiefs ended up losing. That was an interesting game, and as Mike Tirico said, that there's a slight asterisk by this game because Travis Kelce was not playing, and that is definitely one of Patrick Mahomes' main weapons. But yeah, they struggled for sure. We'll see if they can get it turned around and see if they can find any other offense outside of Kelce, because if they don't, I do not know how well they're going to do. On the other hand, the Lions kind of shocked me. I was like, okay, all right, Lions, but they're continuing a little bit of their momentum from last season. And so I think that's going to continue throughout the season, and they might be playoff contenders. I don't know. It's the first game of the season, so we shall see. So then moving on, there's nothing that really happened on Friday, but Saturday was when things started getting a little hairy. And obviously I got to talk about Coach Prime. Coach Prime, they beat Nebraska pretty bad. It wasn't too bad. It was 36-17. So there was a sizable difference between two, and the offense looked good. The defense looked good. However, the Nebraska offense isn't really doing many favors. Jeff Sims, God bless his heart, but he's not really a great quarterback. But that's okay. But Colorado, will see. I'm pretty sure they're probably going to be 3-0 by the time they meet up with Oregon, which is next week. But they play Colorado State this weekend to kind of like shore up a little bit, and I'm pretty sure they're going to win that game. But Coach Prime, the story of sports right now. So couldn't not talk about him, of course. Such a great motivator. Honestly, hearing his little pregame speeches it gets you riled up. And you can't help but root for the guy because he's absolutely changing college football, I think, for the better. And he has 2 Heisman contenders on his team, so good for him. And then in the late cap, there was Texas versus Alabama. Texas went on the road to beat Alabama 34-24. Quinn Ewers had a pretty good performance, and I think Georgia transfer A.D. Mitchell, he had a great performance as well. They look pretty strong, and so people are questioning whether Texas is back or not. I don't know, guys. It's literally the second game of the season, so who knows? But we should be in for a very interesting. So grab your popcorn. We should be into for a very, very interesting college football season. But then what also happened on Saturday was the U.S. Open women's final between Coco Gauff and Arina Sabalenka. There we go. We got her name. Coco won that, and that's her first major. So hopefully first of many more. And seeing her parents' reactions were absolutely amazing. If you didn't see that, you can probably go check them out somewhere on Instagram or Twitter, social media somewhere. But it's so inspiring to see her win that 23 years to the day after Venus won her first U.S. Open title. So I think it was absolutely destiny. And it's just so good to see her winning. Because, you can see how much she's worked and how hard she's worked. So we'll see how much that carries over into the next set of majors to come next year. But yeah, that was pretty much what happened on Saturday. Then on Sunday, there was a lot that happened. Of course, the first big day of NFL action. which included a bunch of teams. Obviously, I got to talk about my Texans. We look good. Half our O line was hurt, so obviously Mr. Stroud got sacked quite a few times. But other than that, I think we look fine. I think D'Amico's got our team headed in the right direction. Our defense looks like they could be lethal within maybe a year or two. But yeah, I think the defense is headed in the right direction. The offense, still got a couple more kinks to work out. Tank Dell, absolutely forced to be reckoned with. We might need a little bit more like wideouts, a couple more weapons for CJ, and also our running game I think is pretty good with that combo of Pierce and Singletary. So I think we'll be all righty there. The Bengals, they were a little rocky. They lost 24-3 to the Browns of all teams, with former Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson. Joe Burrow got paid a payday. He got a lots of money to throw 82 yards. So we'll see if he can turn that around. Also, the Dolphins put on a show. Tua Tagovailoa had about 400 yards and about 180 of them, or 200 or something like that, went to Tyreek Hill. Just a freaking speedster down the, you blink and then he's like 20 yards down the field. It's quite insane, and I think that might be a pretty good combo for the rest of the year. So teams better watch out. He's a very hard guy to guard just because he's just so fast and so quick. And he can also catch. So it's good for him. Now you can see how easier it is for a quarterback when you have somebody like Tyreek Hill. And then for the nightcap, Lord have mercy, the Giants look like a hot mess and a half. They couldn't get anything going, but also credit to the Cowboys defense. They absolutely shut them down. It was 40-0, absolute blowout, obliteration on home field. It was raining, but then this should have just been a low-scoring game in general. The Cowboys wouldn't have scored 40 points if the rain really was a factor. So, yeah, I think the tone of the game got set from that blocked field goal that got taken back for a touchdown. That literally set the tone for the entire game. And I kind of figured that the Giants were going to have a tough night. But also what happened that day was that Novak Djokovic won his 24th major, which tied Margaret Court for most majors all time in tennis. So congrats to him. And we'll see how long his little reign lasts. He didn't get to face Alcaraz because he got beat by Medvedev. I think I'm pronouncing his name right. Some of these players have really hard last names to pronounce. But we'll see about the Alcaraz Djokovic kind of situation for years to come. But we'll see how that works. Then moving on to Monday. Monday was kind of wild too, because for a really boring game, it had a really exciting ending. But obviously, first off, what happened with Aaron Rodgers, that sucks. But my question is, would he retire after this? Because he's about 40 years old. This is an Achilles injury, which is really hard to come back from. The way he is and his style of play, I'm not entirely sure if he can come back from an Achilles injury. But honestly, I think he should have just retired last year along with Tom Brady and along with all those other quarterbacks of the generation like Roethlisberger and Breeze and Rivers and all them other quarterbacks that I grew up with, like 10 years ago. But yeah, I think he should retire, for sure. But hopefully he gets better, and maybe, I don't know, he can give the Jets their money's worth because they paid him a whole bunch of money. But also on the flip side of quarterbacks, Mr. Josh Allen threw 3 interceptions. Guys just gunslinging it down the field. Yeah, he's definitely, I saw a video on TikTok. I was like, this man really has no plan. He's just relying on pure athleticism, and that is absolutely 100% true. The guy improvs a little bit too much, and it's not like planned improv. It's like he's making stuff up on the fly, and he's like, maybe I'll do this. He tries to be the hero a little bit too much, and that kind of bites him in the booty. But other than that, I think he'll be okay. He's just got to turn it around. But yeah, he threw 3 interceptions. All 3 of them were into double coverage and like 50 yards down the field. So they were just not smart throws. But maybe. But also, the Jets won it in overtime on the most wild overtime win that I've ever seen on TV. They won on a punt return for a touchdown, and the punter for the Bills didn't really do much. Man thought it was like two-hand touch, so I don't know what he was doing. So I know he's probably gonna be hitting them tackling drills this week. But yeah. But also the WNBA playoffs are here, and it's gonna be exciting to see if the Aces or the Liberty take it home. I'm gonna put my bucks on the Liberty because I think they've got a strong team, and I think they've just been more consistent in terms of just they haven't had like high highs and lows. They've just been pretty consistent with their performances. Brandon Stewart better win the MVP because she's an absolute baller. And yeah, that's all I got. We've had a wacky sports week. Still lots to come. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this episode. And make sure to keep listening out for whatever I got going on next week. But with that, I say au revoir, ciao, adios, and goodbye.